Whatever you want to do is all right with me. 'Cause you make me feel so brand new. I want to spend my life with you. Me say, sing, baby, since we've been together, ooh, loving you forever is what I need. Let me be the one you come running to. I'll never be untrue. Oh, baby, let's stay together, loving you weather, times are good, bad, happy or sad. Ooh, yeah. Well, the times are good, bad, happy or sad. Why people break up? Oh, turn around and make up. I just can't see you'd never do that to me, would you, baby? Being around you is all I need, is what I want to do. We ought to stay together, loving you weather, times are good, bad, happy or sad. Come on, let's stay together, loving you weather. Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. I've got to keep on pushing. I can't stop now. Move up a little higher, some way or somehow. 'Cause I've got my strength, and it don't make sense not to keep on pushing. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Keep on pushing. Now maybe someday I'll reach that higher goal. I know I can make it with just a little bit of soul. 'Cause I've got my strength, and it don't make sense not to keep on pushing. Now look yonder. What's that I see? A great big stone wall stands there ahead of me. But I've got my pride, and I'm moving on aside and keep on pushing. Hey,
not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Key, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Good brothers and sisters. I am so grateful for having an opportunity to spend some time with you in this early new year of 2024. I appreciate each and every one of you who have decided to tune in to Knowledge is the New Power, to receive this knowledge, to understand this knowledge, to embrace this knowledge, so that you too can obtain the power that this knowledge contains. And so I thank you all for making that decision. I'm very excited this afternoon because it gives me another opportunity to converse with you. It gives me another opportunity to share my thoughts and the thoughts of others. And I'm hoping that Coach T, my co-host, will be blessed with having an opportunity to hear from him this first of the year 2024. And if not, we'll continue on as usual. But I know that he'll be coming on sometime this month to give us an update of all that he has been doing in the area of finance. And so I'm looking forward to that update. But in the meantime, and in between time, we'll continue to talk about the areas that we're going to be talking about. And I tell you, well, before I continue on, let me give out the disclaimer that me and Coach T always gives out during this time. And that disclaimer is simply this. Me and Coach T are not professional tax accountants, nor are we professional financiers, investors, as it relates to statehood, politicians, any of those particular disciplines. But what we are concerned individuals that know the importance of being knowledgeable in those disciplines. And so we take pride in bringing this knowledge to our audience in hopes that they will take this knowledge to empower themselves with this knowledge. Because, as the podcast is titled, knowledge is the new power. And so I'm going to start off the podcast with a couple of meaningful videos that I would like for you to listen to. And then I'm going to read a couple of text threads that I gave out this year that clearly identifies the areas that myself and others are going to be concentrating on this year. But it's funny because as we begin to really concentrate and spend our time on these areas that I'm going to be reading to you shortly, it lets me know who really are in tune. First, the problem, and then the remedy to the problem. And so, yes, we definitely have a problem, brothers and sisters. And a lot of us know what that problem is. But unfortunately, many of us haven't taken the time to learn and then implement the solution to those problems. And so without further ado, let me play a couple of videos that will highlight some of the issues that we definitely need to deal with as a people.
To be a leader is to understand that you must transcend being good at just functional and analytical or problem-solving tasks. That you must be able to build relationships that enable you to create a fabric of personal contacts that will provide you support, feedback, insight, resources, and information. That's called networking, brothers and sisters. And leaders understand that the alternative to effective networking is simply to fail. That you will not reach a leadership position or you will not succeed at leadership without effective networking skills. That you're going to have to spend more of your time working on cultivating, nurturing, and building relationships with each other and others. There's a Harvard study that says that effective people spend about 14% of their time working on cultivating, nurturing, and building relationships at work, at home, and in the community. But successful people, people at the top rungs of every ladder in America, spend 54% of their time working on cultivating, nurturing, and building relationships. I spend more than 60% of my time working on cultivating, nurturing, and building relationships. And I travel 350,000 miles a year. You're going to have to build three kinds of networks. And you're going to have to build them throughout your entire life. I want you to write this down. First, you're going to have to build a personal network. These are your close circle of friends. These are the people that know you, love you, and cheer you on. People who hug you and lift you up. Let's call this your network at home. The second network is you're going to have to build an operational network. These are the people that help you to get specific tasks done in life. Whether it's the team that you're working on at your place of business, the team that you're working on in your church, the team that you're working on in some organization or specific institution that you're a part of. But this is an operational network. It changes through each passage of life. And you would have to work on that network. It's an operational network. Let's call this your network at work. And the third and final network is your strategic network. These are the people that are smarter than you. These are the people that will drag you into the 21st century kicking, screaming, and crying. These are the people that are where you want to be. These are the people that ultimately can be your consultants and mentors and guidance. Let's call that your network in the community. Personal, operational, and strategic. Effective networkers know this. They know that networking looks like this, that somebody is pulling you, and you must always be pulling someone. And the minute you break that connection in either direction, you have a hole in your net. You know what happens when a fisherman gets a hole in his net? The fish get through, and too many holes, and the whole infrastructure of support breaks down. Spend more time working on cultivating, nurturing, and building your relationships.
I prepared a chart. And this is a chart that I think says in another way what he so profoundly provided us today. This chart to me represents beautiful, educated, moneyed black people all over America. It could represent black organizations, it could represent black churches, it could represent black social and civic organizations. And what you will notice about these beautiful black people all over America is that everybody is doing their own thing. Caught up in a Eurocentric value of rugged individualism. Having forgotten that it takes a village to raise a child. There is no power here, brothers and sisters. There is no power here. Power is most effective concentrated. You can take a 55-gallon drum of water, spill it over, it will disperse, find its own level, and eventually evaporate. You can take that same 55-gallon drum of water, put it under pressure, put a lid on it, put a hose in it, put a nozzle on the end of that hose, and it can cut concrete. There is no power with us being disconnected. See, there's nothing wrong with dispersion. I live in Cleveland, you live in Atlanta. We have folk in the Caribbean, we have folk in Africa. That's dispersion. That's okay, but we do not have to be disconnected. We are a disconnected people. people, we are powerless in disconnection. This is where all the power is. You see? This is where all the power is. Whether you are at the center of your own network or a part of someone else's network, this is where the power is. There's a beautiful African proverb that says, when spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. When we connect, because we are disconnected, we're disconnected from those of like mind. We're disconnected from the best practices in our community. I don't care what it is that you want to do, what profession you want to engage in, what business you want to get into. I can introduce you to brothers and sisters all over America they are doing it to death. You just don't know who they are. You are disconnected from them. There is no power in disconnection. Okay? When we connect, we prevent interlopers from coming into our communities and taking and destroying at will.
Hi, George.
Try to open up the Booker T. Washington delicatessen in Chinatown and see what happens. So we must connect. We must connect the dots. That must be the movement for our people in the 21st century. We need a lot of us doing a little instead of a few of us doing a lot. We need to get together to get ahead. That is why we must network.
Today, we are dealing with the science of the Moors. Who are the Moors? This is one of the most difficult of historical questions, and in fact, this is the most neglected chapter in black history.
Muslim. Are you a Muslim, Khalid? Yes, I am. But I'm a Moor. Islam. I'm a Moor. And got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And ain't gonna never argue with you that I'm not a Moor. And wouldn't come in your house or come among you and say I'm a Moor if I didn't feel in my heart, in my mind, in my soul that I am. I would tell you, God damn it, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Ain't no more. So if I say it, I mean it. And if I mean it, generally, I say it. Are you a Muslim? Yes. But I know my roots. And I ain't Kunta Kinte. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Huh? Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught us about the KV. And he taught us that we are the Asiatic people. Master Farad Muhammad, coming behind that, strongly taught it to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that we are the Asiatics. We have people now that want to fight us, attack us. Say, you mean you become so degenerate and so sick until you will call yourself an Asiatic instead of an African? Well, I use African just for communication. But our lessons ask the question, why? Why what? One of the unit.
Today,
Asia, West Asia. When we say Asiatic, we're not talking about a little of the unit.
I don't know what happened to the recording, but it went short. But that was Brother Muhammad acknowledging that he's a Moor. And this is what I'm talking about as far as knowledge. We got a lot of work to do around the proper knowledge, because as you begin your own research, your own studying, looking at the facts as it relates to your history, as it relates to law, as it relates to nationality, as it relates to statehood. This is all documented knowledge, information that you can take the time and look it up yourself. It's not based on belief, brothers and sisters. As I stated previously, the age of belief is over with. We're in a new age now. And some of us, because of our lack of knowledge of the different ages that humanity goes through, may not know that they're in a new age. And so they're still acting or they're still behaving like the old age, which is the age of belief. But our young folks who are born in this new age will pull your coattail, because they'll tell you in a minute, not about what you believe in, especially if you haven't taken the time to find out if what you believe in is based on the truth. And so that's why these young folks have the attitude that they have. They may not realize that attitude unless they're knowledgeable. Again, knowledge is the new power. Unless they're knowledgeable of the different ages that humanity goes through, and they know that they were born into the age of Aquarius, the age of to know. But many of them are acting just on the energy of this new age. And so hopefully throughout their life, some elder or their inquisitiveness will tie them into the knowledge of the ages so that they can understand why they behave the way they behave. But yes, brothers and sisters, we're in the age of to know. And that's why a lot of us who understand this new energy that's being ushered in this new age understands why it's about what you know now. You have to take the time to understand and find out the truth, to find out knowing the truth, not the belief. Because even in the Bible it states you should know the truth, and the truth will make you free. It didn't say your belief will make you free. It only states that the truth will make you free. And there's a lot of beliefs out there that unfortunately is not based on the truth. It's based on someone's ability to use a certain belief to unfortunately manipulate the people. And unfortunately, a lot of religions have been used for that purpose. And so, again, Brother Muhammad was just expressing his newfound understanding and knowledge of to know about him being a Moor. And for some reason, the video won't continue on, but that's okay. We will. And so this next video I would like to play. Well, let me explain the other previous videos that I played by Brother George Frazier. You guys are not familiar with Brother George Frazier. He's been around for quite a bit, still pounding the pavement about the importance and the power of networking. And that brother just broke it down. The bottom line is, if you don't understand the power of networking, and if you're not networking with, if you're not in a network, then you're not doing the things that will empower you. Because if you analyze any person of power that you might know, I guarantee you, if they are truly in power, they are attached to some type of network. Because you don't become empowered by yourself. You come empowered through other people. This is what I have learned during the time that I've been on this planet Earth, analyzing human behavior, analyzing leaders versus failures, successful people versus unsuccessful people, and understanding the traits, understanding the characteristics of a person who have went through what it takes to become a powerful person. And it all lies in his ability or her ability to network with other people. And see, I speak on networking because this next video that I'm going to be playing is basically based on our ability to network. Statehood, the political movement, the cultural revolution that I speak about, that I am participating in, is nothing more than us coming together to form a network. And that network, we're utilizing the administrative processes of the Charter of the United Nations to form states. So a state is nothing more than people in the same geographical area who have the same mindset. In our particular case, the mindset of freeing ourselves from the atrocities of the United States of America to form a state. We're networking to form a state of our own. Since the United States don't want to value our human rights, and you guys know that because some of you are just as old, or in some instances maybe even older than I am, so you know what I'm talking about. And even if you're not, even if you're younger than I am, you've been around this country long enough to know what it's not doing. And so we are just fed up with the continuous of lies that they have been speaking and doing. And we now, with this, I always have to stop myself because it's not new information. It's new to us, yes, but it's not new because it's been around since 1945. That's when the United Nations was formed. And it's not new because the newly formed states in the continent of Africa, that's what they used to form those states that we heard about back in the late 50s and 60s and 70s, where it was popular here the statehood of another state in Africa, freeing themselves from the colonization that the colonizers had on the continent of Africa. And it's ironic because as we were celebrating and happy for the Africans to free themselves from being colonized, we ourselves haven't done the same thing. Ain't that crazy? You know, we applaud what they have done back in the 60s. And it hasn't even, I'll say, many of us, it hasn't even dawned that we need to do the same thing. We got so caught up in this so-called American dream. But in reality, brothers and sisters, and I have to stay in reality, we've been living the American nightmare. Because when have they recognized our human rights? Heck, we still fighting for our civil rights. And that's nowhere as powerful as your God-given rights. And unfortunately, many of us don't even acknowledge that reality. And so, yes, brothers and sisters, they have done a job on us. And I write to that on several of the text messages that I sent out this year that I'm going to read later on after I play this particular video, which is so fitting because it talks about the triple principles that we're using to decolonize ourselves, brothers and sisters. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being treated like a little child. You know, being treated like there's something wrong with me. Allowing my race of people to be treated like we're criminals. Like all of us are criminals. You know, being disrespected in our communities. Being abused. You know, I'm talking to the choir. You know how we have always been treated. And we're tired of it. And we know that with this knowledge that we've been given an opportunity to implement will end all those atrocities that our people have been going through. And it will hold the United States of America accountable for all of those inhumane treatments that they have caused us and our ancestors, those who have since passed. And so it's incumbent upon us, brothers and sisters, those of us who are still here, to use this knowledge to free ourselves finally from our oppressor. And so let me play this video to share with you these ideas.
The triple principles of sovereignty and independence, integrity of domain, and economic liberty without any inequality are key concepts in furthering the cause of Moor statehood. Sovereignty refers to the supreme authority within a territory and independence refers to freedom from external control or influence, i.e., U.S. corporate chartered colony franchisee or local municipality. This principle suggests that a Moorish state who is returned into the entire submission of Moroccan law should have the ability to govern itself through laws and enforcement of its own creation. The Sharifian state's jurisdiction should be expressed through three branches of governance: legislative, executive, and judicial. The three sovereign branches work in concert to govern and maintain the integrity of domain of the Udi Posidatis jurisdiction by enforcing its own internal law, as well as the treaty and accession documents that hold all international parties accountable. A Moorish state must have control over its own jurisdiction and borders, and these borders should be respected by other states, be they U.S. corporate franchisees or Moorish. This principle is important for maintaining security and stability, as well as protecting the inalienable, unalienable rights of its nationals, economic liberty without any inequality. This principle refers to the idea that a state should have the freedom to pursue its own economic policies and development of land, water, and mineral resources. The Sharifian authority must ensure that trade and commerce is fair and equitable for its protected nationals. This means all obstacles and encumbrances must be removed to ensure that state nationals are able to carve out a fair share of all available markets. Principle is important for stimulating growth and maintaining social stability within the culture of the autochthonous indigenous Moors. Commerce in the form of thriving businesses, banks, and institutions will ensure a stable future for all states. These tenets are considered essential to maintaining self-determination, security, and prosperity. They are also closely linked to the principles of non-interference, self-defense, and self-sufficiency. Laws must meet at the nexus of these concepts: self-determination, obligation, treaty, and accession. The legislative branch is an integral part of government because it is responsible for crafting laws. Laws are the foundation of a society's legal system and provide the framework for societal functions and freedoms. Our laws, those enacted within a Sharifian state, must delineate and differentiate our society from that of the colonizing power. They must provide constraints or accountability for those that seek to do harm to Moors and reinforce the cultural strength amongst our caucus. The matriarchs of the legislative branch are elected by the nationals and are accountable to states' constituents. This gives the people a voice in government and allows them to shape the laws that govern their individual lives. It is important for the Moorish states to have laws specific to their own jurisdiction for several reasons. A state's ability to govern itself independently is a fundamental aspect of its sovereignty. Having laws specific to our own jurisdiction allows the consular court to rule based on the voice of the people and punish those in violation of civil and criminal infractions. It gives license for a state to exercise its power and make decisions based on its own needs and circumstances. Laws specific to a state's jurisdiction provide legal certainty for the Moorish state's nationals and businesses. They know what is expected of them and can plan accordingly. Laws specific to a state's jurisdiction can be more easily adapted to a state's changing needs without having to renegotiate international treaties or agreements. In some cases, the state's laws should be consistent with the international laws and conventions to which the state is a party. These laws can be used to ensure compliance with international obligations and prevent conflicts between national and international laws. Specific laws are necessary to protect the rights and interests of the state's nationals, such as laws related to travel and civil and criminal justice. Laws also empower the consular court and enable them to seek justice and recompense for crimes against the state or its nationals. Lastly, the legislative branch is responsible for ratifying treaties, should any be proposed, between the Moorish states. This gives them a critical role in shaping future relations between Moorish states and future trade partners. Islam, Moors.
Yes, brothers and sisters, the triple principles is what we're using to usher in our independence and finally being able to hold the United States of America accountable for all that they have done to us. And so that puts us in a new league, so to speak. It puts us in a position that we have never been able to put ourselves in before. And the United States of America know this. That's why they try so hard to keep us in that old state of mind. They don't want us to embrace this new state of mind of being truly independent as our ancestors were that came before us. See, we're just going back to who we were. We're just recognizing who we once were before we were completely brainwashed by the colonizers who formed the United States of America. See, I'm hoping I'm not being too direct for you so that you'll tune out. But brothers and sisters, we shouldn't be running from the truth. Because as I mentioned earlier, the truth is the only thing that's going to make us free. And so if you have a habit of tuning out the truth, then you have a bad habit of not wanting to be free. Because I don't know any people that wants to be dependent on another people. The only reason why we act that way now is because we were taught to be that way. We were taught this behavior. See, behavior is something that is taught. and it was taught through the disguise of statehood. But the statehood was created and being ran by the very people who have colonized us. This is what a lot of us are in denial, don't want to recognize that being the case. But you know, and if you don't know, let me remind you that we have never dealt with the original cause of us being in the situation that we find ourselves being in today. Many of us don't have a clue because we believe what the United States of America has told us about us. We believed without doing the necessary research to find out that if what we believe in is actually based on the truth. We just believed it because we learned it in their educational institutions. We learned it in their religious institutions. We learned it in their political institutions. And we just took it for face value, not realizing that everything that they have built is based around their ability to keep us in the status that we find ourselves in, or many of us find ourselves in today. That has always been their goal. Yeah, they'll say the land of the free. But what is actually going on here, brothers and sisters? If they wanted us to experience equality, then they would make it possible for us to experience equality. It don't take 200 years or however long we've been trying to fight for our equality. Equality is something that you should have to fight for any other way. Equality is something that God has given you. But you allow this man to take it away. And so we got to stop being so naive and stop being like hopeful. Well, maybe he'll change his mind, her mind. Maybe they'll accept us. That's coming from a person that has forgotten or maybe never really knew where they came from. Because again, if you knew where you came from, you knew that what they did was create a state called the United States of America here where we're at, where our ancestors were at, and use that state under the auspices of a legislative body, one of the three branches, right, of government, and they legislated their way to our lands. They legislated their way to our resources, brothers and sisters. They legislated their way to our freedom, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to wake you up as to what they truly have done to us. Just because they used statehood to do it does not legitimize what was done. They used statehood, I'm just going to be very direct. They used statehood to occupy and to continue to occupy our land. They use statehood to steal the resources that are on our land, brothers and sisters. And then to make you feel that you're a part of state, they legislated you an act called the Nationalization Act of 1870 to also include the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to get you to believe, there you go with that belief again, to get you to believe that you are truly an American, not realizing that you were something before their legislation. You already had a nationality, but they took that right, that God-given right, every human being having a nationality, they took that away from you and gave you their designations. And a lot of us have a hard time understanding that reality. It reminds me of the Matrix, when that one character was disconnected from the Matrix. And he was going on with the program. But then, the battle, the struggle that you go through to regain your independence, brings a toll on some of them. And it did on him, to the point where he made the decision to get plugged back into the Matrix, knowing that it was false, it wasn't the truth. But I guess he'd gotten tired, like many of us have gotten, and he just wanted to, just live out the rest of the days, knowing that he was living a lie, but he didn't have the energy, he didn't have the power no longer to fight. And so he plugged himself back into the Matrix, knowing that the steak that he was eating wasn't really steak. Many of us, unfortunately, have gotten to be the same way as that character in the Matrix. I look at many of our people, and their behavior reminds me of that character. And I can't get mad at them because, some of us do feel like there's no hope. Some of us do feel like, I know the United States of America is being ran by colonists, but at least they do give us some rights, some civil rights, so I'll just go with that and live the rest of my days on that. But thank God there are people like myself and others who are the Neros of the world, who are the Morphuses of the world, who are the Trinities of the world, who's going to fight for what is right, who's going to base all his decisions on the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. There are brothers and sisters who are doing that. And this is the type of spirit that myself and others are bringing to the table in hopes that I can motivate others to do the same. But as I said before, I understand those who may not want to accept this reality because they've been conditioned for so long to accept the reality of the colonizers. So, and that type of behavior. I understand a lot of us are in denial. A lot of us want to cling on to our jobs, or cling on to our religion, or cling on to our many different organizations that we might be a part of. And that would be okay if those entities were working on our decolonizing ourselves from the colonizers. But unfortunately, most of them are not. And that's why we're still in the predicament that we're in today. And that's what I speak to when I speak about our dependence as a people, when I speak about us being free to govern ourselves. Don't you want to experience that, brothers and sisters? If anything, don't you want to show them that we are capable of doing so? That we're capable of doing something that they're apparently are not? That's what I'm looking forward to showing them. It's showing this arrogant state called the United States of America, the arrogance of them, how they go to other states around the world with this goodness. That's why I'm looking forward to continue to form our states around this United States. We're supposed to have a Moroccan state for every opposing American state. That means here in Texas, state of Texas, we got Dempsey, the Moroccan state. State of Colorado, we got AMPAC, a Moroccan state. State of Georgia, we got AMPEG, a Moroccan state. Before it's over with, all of the 50 states of the United States of America will have an equivalent and more powerful Moroccan state. That's what it's about, brothers and sisters. But that will only happen if we usher in and embrace this new energy of to know that we are the Moroccans of the Moroccan Empire, that we are the people that they speak about in these treaties that are still enacted. But they've been inactive because guess what? One of the what's the word I'm trying to say? One of the parties, which is us, became inactive. And so one of the parties, which is us, are not represented in the treaties. So it's almost as if we don't even exist. That's what you do when you claim to be an American. And let's get it right. A naturalized American. When you claim to be black, when you claim to be Negro, colored, African American, Indian, when you claim to be everything but who you are in the treaties. You see, if those names were in the treaties that are enforceable, then I wouldn't have a problem with those names. But I know the strategy that the colonizers are using. As long as they can continue to get us to answer to those misnomers, then we void our own selves from participating in the treaties. And so they can continue to run wild because the other parties are not being represented. And only a Moroccan can represent a Moroccan. But if I can get you to believe, again, there you go, that word, if I can get you to believe that you're not Moroccan, then you voluntarily took yourself out of the contract. That's what you did, brothers and sisters. You took yourself right out of the contract because you want to continue to identify. Sister, you got to mute yourself because we're hearing that echo. I believe it's Sister Nabi. You have to mute yourself, sis. But just a minute. You take care. But you know, it's all about strategy. See, they use that strategy on us, hoping that we would never find that out. They use the strategy of statehood on us, again, hoping that we would never figure it out. But you see, brothers and sisters, it's ironic because the strategy that they're using, unfortunately, they're using it for their manipulative purposes. But we can use that same strategy because it's the strategy that they got from us in the first place. But they're using it in a colonized way, whereas we're using it as to form our independence from the colonizers. That's the big difference. And so you got to ask yourself, why would you continue to be part of a government that clearly was created to steal the land and the natural resources that are on that land from the indigenous people? That's the reality, brothers and sisters. They came from, the original colonizers came from Great Britain. That is reality. They came from Great Britain. They came over here. And we gave them permission to create the 13 colonies. And as they progressed, and as they became more knowledgeable, they turned those 13 colonies into eventually the 50 states. And we, as Moroccans, the Moroccan Empire, were the first to recognize them as being a state, to legitimize them. We did this, brothers and sisters. Our ancestors did this. And then they turned around and thanked us by colonizing us. That's the short version of it. That's the direct version of it. In essence, that's exactly what they did. They used the information of statehood to become independent from Great Britain. But at the same time, they made us, the indigenous people, dependent on them. And we ain't been the same ever since. And we won't be the same until we undo what was done to our ancestors and what's being done to us today. We can't be like that individual in the Matrix and went back, plugged into the Matrix because he was tired. He was mentally tired. He was psychologically tired. He didn't want to fight no more. And a lot of us are acting the same way, knowing we've been colonized and we don't want to do the work to decolonize ourselves. That's where we're at, brothers and sisters. That's where we're at. I can't make it no more clear than that. And that's why a lot of us stay away from this information. This podcast should be full of us who are willing to learn the administrative processes that it's going to take to become our respective states, depending on where you are located now. If you're in New Jersey, if you're in New York, if you're in Texas like I am, you can get with DEMTI. You know, if you're in California, wherever you're at. If there's not a equivalent Moroccan state already up and running, they soon will be. This is what time it is today, brothers and sisters. This is what we're doing to regain our independence. This is what we're doing to formulate our government. Free people have the ability to govern themselves. They don't rely on another group of people. You don't become free by relying on another group of people, especially when that group of people are not respecting your human rights. And the United States of America has never respected, and not only respected, but granted our human rights. But those days are over with. Thank God that we now have the same knowledge that our African brothers and sisters back in the late 50s, 60s, and 70s used to decolonize ourselves, to decolonize themselves. We have the ability to do the same thing finally. Man, you do the math. From let's say pick 1958, okay, to 2024. That's easy because I was born in 1958. And so from 1958, the African states were decolonizing themselves through the charters of the United Nations. It's taken us that long to realize what they did. Some of us still don't have a clue or are still in denial. We run away from this information. So that means we got to learn the administrative processes that it takes to decolonize ourselves. That means it takes away from what you're doing right now. But then that leads to, and I hope I'm not stepping on nobody's toes, because I don't mean to, but, you know, this is the year 2024, and we have to change, brothers and sisters. We cannot continue to do what we did in 2023. But we have to change our ways. All these organizations, new and old, that many of us are participating in, too many of these organizations have nothing to do with decolonizing. Nothing at all. And that's the very thing that we must do first. I don't care who you are, what you claim to be. Other than your health, right? Other than your health, right? If decolonization is not your priority, not have a high priority on your list, then what you're saying is that you rather continue to be colonized. What you're saying is that you rather plug back into the matrix, knowing that what you're plugged into is not real. You rather think that it's real, but in reality, it's not. It's equivalent to you thinking that you're free, but you know you're not. And maybe every time you see me, hear me, feel me, it's a reminder of how you are perpetrating a fraud. Because I'm going to remind you that you're not free, brothers and sisters, until you do what's necessary. In this case, learn the administrative processes needed to finally decolonize ourselves and to run a state of our own, independent from our oppressors. And knowing that an international system in place that will protect us from states like the United States of America, who may want to infringe upon our human rights. But the international community won't allow them, because we finally have a state of our own, or states of our own throughout the Moroccan Empire. That's what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. To rise up from our oppressor and to finally have the ability, the mindset, the willpower to learn these administrative processes that will enable us to run a Moroccan state like our ancestors once did. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our children, grandchildren. We owe it to our ancestors, those who have since passed on. We owe it to the earth, that since we're the firstborn, we have an oath to protect the earth from those who choose to harm the earth. See, we don't even know our true responsibility as the indigenous peoples of the land. We're obligated to protect what's given to us as the firstborn. And if we don't, then we will suffer the consequences of not fulfilling our obligation as being the mothers and fathers of civilization. So it's much, much bigger than us. But see, again, those of us who hear this information, depending on your state of mind, it might overwhelm you because you're so caught up in the information that the colonizers have put in your mind that you can't fathom what I just said. It's too intense. It's too much energy because you haven't embraced this age of to know. You're still in the age of belief. And you're still believing what the colonizers instituted you to believe. through their institutions. That's what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. That's what we have to realize, that that's what's going on. But let me read because it's getting close to the hour. Let me read at least one of the texts that I sent, and then I'm going to open it up for comments from you guys. Share with me what I have been talking about. Grand Rising, fam. Now that those of us who are able to comprehend the problem and are now implementing the knowledge of decolonization through the administrative processes, the real solution, we can finally see for ourselves how much damage colonization, the real problem, has done to our people psychologically. Wow. We are seeing that the real problem, or the most devastating damage of the real problem, is the indigenous peoples, melanated peoples, continued dependency on the colonizers to solve their problems. Too many of you still believe that the United States of America, the very states that were created and united by the colonists, colonize the indigenous peoples of this land of Morocco under the disguise of statehood. A brilliant strategy, I may add, so that the colonists can continue to occupy our land without paying taxes, continue to steal our natural resources, again, paying no taxes, continue to hide our true nationality / our true identity with their legislative acts of colonialism, the Naturalization Act of 1870, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, only to make you believe that you are an American and not the true Moroccan that you will always be, despite their political manipulations, to replace our ancestors' spirituality with their whitewashed white supremacy religions. Because our ignorance, brainwashing mentality, you continue to help them spread their agenda of colonization all around the world, just like they were able to do to us right here in the land of Morocco. But in spite of all this evidence, some of you still believe in the American lie. That's only proof of how you continue to be thoroughly manipulated psychologically by the colonists with their colonial states that are designed to keep you dependent on them. Are the colonists strategies still working on you. Real talk, straight talk, no excuses, peace and love. And so, brothers and sisters, that was just one of the texts that I sent out, I believe, early this morning, describing our situation, describing what we need to be doing to get ourselves from under this colonialism that we find, that all of us find ourselves in. No one's exempt. No matter how you may be in, how much you may be in denial, you still are a colonized person, and you still are being treated like a colonized person that you are. And so I want to open up the floor for any comments that you might have, any feelings that you might have towards the information I just shared with you. I'm curious to know how you feel about the situation that we're all in, brothers and sisters. We're all in this. You know, this is something that has been done to us. And they try to disguise it into a legitimate statehood. But you guys know that it's not. That's why we're still fighting. That's why we're still uncomfortable. That's why we're still fighting for our equality as a human being. And so let me open it up. Some of you guys are on mute, so unmute yourself and talk to me, family. How do you feel about this information? How do you feel about this cultural revolution that we're undergoing? Even if you know that you're in a cultural revolution, let me be one of the first to let you know that this is a cultural revolution that we're under. And it's a beautiful thing. Don't run from it. Embrace it. Talk to me, sis. Talk to me, Grouse. You have to be able to, one of the first things that we have to be able to do, brothers and sisters, so we have to be able to talk about the issues that all of us are undergoing. No one's exempt. This is reality. I don't care how much you're in love with this country, because you know, us, talking about melanated people, we have this love-hate relationship with America. You know, hell, I fought in one of their wars. You know, so thinking that I was fighting for a legitimate cause, only to find out later on that, you know, it was all about. I was in the Desert Storm, Desert Shield war, and to find out that it was all about oil, fighting to get the oil of Saddam Hussein. You know, when all of it finally came out, you know, trying to make him the bad guy. You know, and we was over there trying to act like we was over there for democracy and so forth, and all along we was over there because of the interest of their oil, not ours. Same thing that they did over here with us as the indigenous people over here. the oil that's over here in Morocco, not the United States of America. The United States of America is a state that they created, that occupies, that's been occupying this land. Again, let's get it right. This is the age of to know. Let's start calling it for what it is. No such thing as the United States of America. That is a created entity that was formulated by the colonizers to colonize the indigenous people, us, that was residing over here. So let's get it straight. This is exactly what's been going on. And the United States of America got so cocky, so arrogant, that they thought that they could do what they did to us over here. Did y'all hear? Let me say that again. The United States, the government of the United States of America has got so arrogant because of our behavior, or should I say lack of behavior, and they figure that everybody's going to act like we are acting now, not being responsive, being, what's that word, acquiescent in behavior. They thought that they can go to other countries around the world to duplicate what they were able to do here. But thank God there are indigenous people around the world who wasn't having it. And that's where you were seeing the conflict, the wars that you're seeing around the world when the United States is involved. They're always involved by taking something that is not theirs. And so this is what we're going to be spotlighting. The Moroccan Moors here in Morocco. This is what we're going to be highlighting as we go through the administrative processes of decolonizing ourselves from them. They never thought that we would be competent enough to identify the different strategies that they have used to get us to behave the way that most of us are behaving. And I am so grateful that I'm one of the few who were able to overcome their institutionalization or decolonization of the mind. And now I am fighting to physically free ourselves, to physically decolonize ourselves from them. See, it starts with your mind first. You have to decolonize your mind first. And then you learn the administrative processes that will physically decolonize yourselves from them. But a lot of us haven't developed the mindset to mentally decolonize ourselves. That's why a lot of us are still colonized mind-wise. They can never get from that state of being. They can never get from being in that state of colonization. So they would never be able to get to the next phase, which is the actual learning of the implementation of the administrative processes that's going to physically decolonize ourselves from them. Sister Latoya, can I get you to come off of mute and share with us your thoughts about the information that I was sharing? How do you feel about decolonization? How do you feel about what the United States of America is continuing to do to our people? You lived in this country all your life, from, I believe, Hoboken, New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey, so I know how the North has treated us. I know in particular New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia in particular, Connecticut. I know used to call that the tri-state area. New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey, tri-state area. So I went through those stages of life, born into that particular setting, in the early part of my life. So I'm very familiar with the northern behavior. And now I'm in the South, Texas in particular, Houston to be specific. And I see the difference between the northern way of decolonization versus the southern way of colonization. And there is a difference between the two, but both of them are colonizing us as a people. Don't be fooled. They both are colonizing us. But if Sister Latoya doesn't want to share, that's okay, sis. Anybody else want to share? Brother Leon, are you out there? Talk to me, brother. These are the things that we have to discuss. Brother Edward, share with me. Sister Nabia, share with me. Brother Vito, share with me your thoughts. Brother Forrest, share with me your thoughts. This is where we're at as a people. This is the things that we have to continue to deal with as a people. And so these are the thoughts that we have to conjure up in order to rid ourselves of the condition that we find ourselves in as the indigenous people of the world. And so if no one has anything to add on what I'm saying, since it's being close, is someone trying to chime in, talk.
Brother Bay, this is Naviha.
Hey, how you doing? Happy so-called New Year's, Sister Nabia.
Likewise to you. Yes, I've just been in a state of mourning for the things that's been happening, in the community. And I lost a best friend, one of my best friends. So I'm just like a little quiet right now trying to deal with my feelings. But however, I want to thank you for all the information. I mean, it's just excellent. I mean, we're still in the baby stage, so we got to wake up a little bit more, And I'm there because my former husband, Sharif Bey, he was Moor, and he didn't share as much as he probably would have, but he died in 1999. So I still remember, much of the information, and God willing, I'm just going to continue to study, but I'm trying to get some of the younger sisters and brothers to, just take on that responsibility. But like I said, and they're in the baby stage and still asleep, and sometimes they don't recognize it. So you got to spoon feed us. I really want to make that move, but I just have so much on my plate. But God willing, I'm going to, just make it easier and let go of many things and just move on, because I really want to be on that page with you guys. You're doing such an excellent job. Just be a little more patient with us, because the information is, oh my goodness, you just did such an excellent job with sharing what you did today, as usual. Okay, but our mindset is still, in a daze. I'm not at that point, but the age of Aquarius, I've been studying that for a little while, and perhaps, next time I'll chime in and give a little bit more of my thoughts on it. But just let me get through these next few days, because we have another funeral that we have to take care of, okay? So
right.
I'm just a little bit sensitive right now. But I just want everyone that's on the line to just understand what you're saying, and we got to get up and make this move. It's 2024. You can't lag behind, because the time is moving rapidly. And
yes.
we definitely need to make a change and make a decision. So God willing, I'm going to, do the best I can after these next few, couple of weeks. And I'll just get on the bandwagon with you guys, okay? So count me in, Brother Bay. I haven't forsaken. You're okay.
Oh, I know you.
Dynamite information, I really do. My heart is full, but I'm a little bit emotional too. So thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you. Okay.
Right.
Have a good night. Okay.
I thank you so much, Sister Nadia, and my heartfelt condolences go out to you and the family. Death is never, well, for me anyway, it's never easy, So again, my condolences go out to you and the family. But yes, this information, it can be a bit overwhelming. I definitely understand that. But, it is what it is. I wish I could say that, no, I don't wish, no, I don't, because it's the truth. So, the truth is the truth. So, it is what it is. They chose, the colonizers chose to do what they did with the state that they created. They could have easily fulfilled what America is supposed to represent, right? Y'all know, you said the Pledge of Allegiance and all that, Star Spangled Banner and a whole bit. And a lot of us bought into that, and we still believe in America. And I understand that, because I was one of them. Heck, I fought. I was a soldier. You can't get no more patriotic than, fighting for your country, right? But, I wasn't as conscious as I am today. I didn't have the information, or the information didn't soak in like it has soaked in now, And so it is what it is, But thank God I had the ability to finally come around. Finally it sunk in, and I saw America for what America truly is, not what America wants to be. It's a big difference. And I wish that America can be what it wants to be as opposed to what it actually is. And I'm tired of waiting on the American people to fulfill the American dream. I like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and others, realize that those who are currently running America, the American government, and those who founded America, created America, are not capable of fulfilling the very dream that America represents. And so since I know that that is a reality, then, and plus, I know that we already had a government that we were a part of that did have the capabilities to fulfill what America is perpetrating. And that's the government, the Moroccan government, ran by the indigenous melanated people, ran by us. We're capable of fulfilling the American dream. And so that's what you're witnessing. Those of us who know that they're not the Americans, those who call themselves the Americans, are not capable of fulfilling the American dream. But those of us who call ourselves the Moroccan Moors are capable. And that's what we're going to show the world, that we are capable of bringing in what America was not able to do so. That's what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. And so it's about that time. Boy, time flies when you're giving out pertinent information, when you're giving out knowledge. Again, I like to thank all you brothers and sisters coming out, spending some time with us this first week of the year 2024. And I look forward to disseminating more information all throughout this year and to build up the Moroccan states throughout the land of Morocco so that we can finally bring charges against this out-of-control United States of America and make them accountable for their actions. I love you all, always will, and there is nothing you can do about it. I thank you so much, and I'm going to go out with our brother here, . our brother Curtis Mayfield with the New World Order. Oh, before I almost forgot, Sister Deborah, Positive Impact, immediately follows this podcast. And then Brother Abdul, the health man, immediately follows hers. Thank you.
Darkness no longer, a child is born. Mother shed tears of joy as baby tests his lungs. But daddy's not there where he ought to be. Somewhere in Georgia, skinning and shooting craps on his knees. Another victim born out here in the hood. And based on statistics, it really ain't all good. Welfare takes the tab, and daddy can't sign, and it can't be seen. The family becomes a crime. The hunt is on, and brother, you're the prey. Serving time in jail, it just ain't the way. I'm living so hard, babe, that my hair's gray. We got to make a change. It's a brand new day. A new world order, a brand new day.